Okay, so we saw the designs last week laid out for this house. Now I get to talk about what you thought and all your different ideas. And so maybe start with that you did historical research and you have a picture of the house and different stuff like that.
So I always recommend, going to your local historical society.
Me too.
I was able to find a really nice photograph of the house where we can tell that it was built in 1926.
Okay.
And you can see that the iron railings are there and sort of, kind of that pretty plaster detail in the front, and that it had a barrel tile roof, which we'd both love to bring back. And then it's super interesting. We have the whole first listing of sale. So 1959 was the first time it changed hands.
Interesting.
And it's got all of the rooms. There's different kinds of there was a porch and other things that, you wouldn't really be able to tell. It even says the bathrooms had ceramic tile. Really a nice little bit of history.
Yeah, for sure. That's really neat. Sewing room, twin bed, second ceramic tile off hall.
$45,000 it sold for. I mean,
that's what you got it for, right?
Those are the days.
Okay, so I sent you these ideas. Let's walk through them. Kind of tell me what you think. Let's start here since we're right here.
Okay.
You've got this really pretty arch going under the stairs.
Yep.
I think it'd be nice to have these two as arches. Did you like that?
Yes, that was definitely 100% my original vision. I think at some point these had to have been squared off, or I mean, this is not.
I just think they missed.
Original.
I don't think it was originally. I think it was originally squared off, and we just have the opportunity to make it an arch, and I think it's better.
I really like this step molding. I love the keystone concept, so I'm very interested in kind of expanding on that idea and making it feel a little more formal.
Okay, so then we go to your living room, and one of the things I did when I did my walkthrough was I think this room is another candidate for this applied molding that you put in there and in here, these two formal rooms. Did you like the paneling? I know you've got the wallpaper too. So
yes, so I love an applied panel detail, actually so much so that I made a wallpaper that looks like applied paneling, and it can be customized to your room. Wow. So actually in this dining room, I'm going to put that paper.
Fantastic.
And in that room, while I love the idea of applied panel molding, I'm also really loving this idea of a beautiful botanical kind of mural throughout. And also in terms of just trying to spend and save in certain places, like I'm trying to limit the moldings that are going in here to some degree. So I think I'm going to lean into wallpaper a little more to help me in these spaces and really focus on crown, baseboard, and door and frame trim.
Well, let's grab these pictures and walk back to the back, because that's kind of the biggest opportunity I see.
Yeah. Okay.
While we go through here, I did want to ask you about your stair.
Yeah.
I think this should be ironwork.
Yeah, I don't dislike that idea. There's some really beautiful iron stairs. I do like this railing, and I think because there's a bit of this colonial revival mixed in with the Mediterranean, I think that's another place where I lean into saving money and spend my dollars on some beautiful beams in the back family room.
No, understood. Opportunity here. You've got the ironwork on the outside. I think the most appropriate, and this isn't, I think this is original, right? But the most appropriate for the Mediterranean style would be the ironwork. Maybe it's phase 2.
Yes.
We've got a mantle here, and I had drawn kind of a hooded detail with tile, has a punch of color. You got your wallpaper. I think that's great. But you do have an original mantle here that they've built around. They built this surround and that surround. This is bad, right? We all agree that they need to go away.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm interested. I do love sort of the shape of this, and you know what I'm noticing now too is this is the shape you drew for that opening. Yeah. And they're kind of united in that way. I wonder what the rest of this looks like.
I know, me
too.
To
make that kind of as beautiful and sort of romantic as I want it to feel, because I think the struggle I have sometimes with the two styles is the Mediterranean can go a little masculine, and I sometimes go a little more Georgian, French colonial. And so I'm kind of trying to marry those. And I love this kind of original detail. And I like the brick that's behind there.
So I have drawn you a more traditional one. When I was first showing you these, we were thinking, I showed you that tile one and you said, well, maybe that goes in that family room, which is fine. I think that the opportunity, what would be fun is you could have tile above this. There could be a panel above this. There could be some fun, cool things in there. But this needs to be, I think that's probably why they tried to put wood around it.
Yeah,
we need a little bit more.
Scale,
right?
Yeah,
it's a little bit subdued. So if you have plain plaster walls above this, you're right, there's opportunity for other stuff. I think that the connection between this space and this space, especially since this is going away, I have that segmented arch here.
Yeah,
and
I
so
like that a lot.
I
agree.
Nice that it picks it up.
I really wanted to continue the hardwoods through into here, make this feel really cohesive.
Awesome. Okay.
So that's for sure my plan.
Now, this room.
Yeah.
So, there's a number of things going on, and I was trying to put that whole space together with this space. It's so discombobulated right now. They don't speak to one another. And one of the things I did on my drawing was that if you even had a center line from that window out here, I think we could line up those arches. And I would fight hard that whatever's in that closet out there, whether it's a HVAC or water heater, that we find space for that, maybe with a Unico system, maybe with something else, that we capture that space so that we can orient those arches with this. And that's really what I was showing here.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That is totally the Mediterranean dream.
Right.
And I would be so happy to have it look like that.
Good. The beams, obviously, I said earlier that there is zero precedent for an X beam, like a timbered beam, which is what they're trying to express. It's interesting in the 70s drawings that they did, they had a much more traditional.
I think there was a really, really thoughtfully done renovation in the late 70s. And then I think there was like a 2000 kind of update.
Okay.
And I think that's when the kitchen was done. And I think that's maybe when these I think they were leaning French country.
Right.
And you can see that in these beams and sort of the cabinetry detail.
And the French mantel.
Even that fireplace, I think all is kind of leaning away from the Mediterranean style.
Well, we had a conversation, we were talking about that mantle. Maybe that one's more formal, this one's informal. What do you, because you could do antique beams in here, you could do rustic things like that. Are you thinking that, or are you doing beams? Or?
Yeah, I would love to do beams. I would love to do something kind of in the middle, not extremely rustic, but also not extremely polished. I kind of see them as a little bit of like a darker color, definitely straight. I feel like if the budget was unlimited, I'd probably cover the whole ceiling in wood, and I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I think a more earthy feeling back here. Like this is a little more formal, this is a little more casual, a little earthier, a little more connected to the outdoors.
So looking at your plans, it appears that this edition was the 70s thing, right?
Right.
And so, which is why it has that 70s vibe. How are you seeing this space? Because you've got a wonderful space back here. How are you going to try to put it all together?
Yeah, so what I think was originally developed as a little dog run is potentially could be a lovely little courtyard moment.
Yeah.
And then we'd like to redo this hardscape. Just it's seen better days.
It's dated.
And there's a bigger landscaping plan, but the idea is still just a nice patio, more of a little kind of retreat pergola area, and then outdoor kitchen potentially along this side of the garage.
Okay. Well, when I stand out here, I look at the big box that's on here and another box, right? They're flat roof boxes that you've got attaching and kind of drawn. This one has a hipped roof. This one is most like the other part of the house. So I kind of gave you two variations, one with the columns on the edge, which really elevates it, maybe more than the front, right? Maybe too much.
Yeah.
And then the other one that just didn't show that, but it does have maybe there's a spiral column like you've got on the front porch, right? Maybe you're doing that. Certainly would help tie it together. I did have a little garden lattice work. I could see wrapping that whole inside of that thing with the little lattice, especially if you see it off your kitchen.
Yeah, I
It'd be
love
so
that.
inviting out there.
I love that idea.
I could think it'd be great.
Just another hilarious plug for the wallpaper. I did a trellis wallpaper, so it's all meant to be. I feel like this whole thing, I love trellis. I never get sick of it. And I do like this little more casual version. I think it's just more
I drew
fitting.
the other one, and then I drew this one, and now I'm back at the house. I'm like, that one's actually probably more appropriate. So just so you're not upstaging the house. But yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. I love your collaboration. I love what you're kind of bringing to it. When will you be done? Next week? A couple weeks?
Definitely. We're hoping sometime so next year, 2025 to start, and I would guess this is at least a year-long project.
Yeah, okay, well good. Well, we'll follow along. Okay. We'll be tracing. We're hopefully gonna help her out with some windows and doors, and so, yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, thanks so much, Brent.
Yeah, thank you.